Welcome back to the Quirky Dorks Podcast. It is March 7th, 2021, and I'm Shane Edwards, and I'm here again with.
VL Wilson.
We're back. After doing the first one, we've learned a lot. We just wanted to dedicate the first episode to talking a little bit about us, but we're back. Phil, I know today you've had a little stressful moment before the podcast. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. I think it was a Thursday. I had my swim meet, which was the final swim meet of the season. I had a pretty severe asthma attack. The paramedics were called, so yeah, it's been pretty rough. And ever since then, my lungs haven't really been performing at their best. I've been my chest been real tight, been feeling out of breath, um, real fast. So that's just been, irritating along with, everything else that's going on in my life. I have a training for lifeguarding coming up, I believe next Saturday.
We both do. Oh, you
Yeah.
you by the way, you gotta give me the information for that after we're done, because I want to probably do the training with you. I've been trying to build my endurance up for that too.
Yeah, most definitely, most definitely. Yeah, I have training for that, and then I also had a interview with Home Depot because I need a job right now, and that's a summer job. So
Hey,
yeah, but I also have a lot of stuff going on. Um, Let me see what else. It's just like I've been taking SAT prep on Sundays.
yeah.
Yeah, which means I basically have 6 days of school instead of five, but whatever.
that's
So
that's been our lives, fam. It's just all been drilling SAT practice, and I am
yeah,
so stressed
it's
about doing
irritating.
it.
Eh, uh, I would say I wouldn't say I'm too stressed about it. I mean, I want to do good, but then at the same time, like going to college, not going to college, from what I'm hearing, is that most schools are not even requiring that you submit your scores. So I wouldn't really say that I'm too stressed about it, but I definitely want to do good on it.
Yeah.
You know, I'm graduating early, which means I got to take a summer class over the summer. So I mean, I just got a lot of stuff. Just
Which congratulations on that, by the way, for graduating early.
appreciate it. Yeah.
If I would have graduated early, fam.
Whew.
So much less
Yeah,
stuff to
man.
worry about.
I don't know what I'm gonna do yet. I'm graduating in December, so I might see if I can start college in January, or I might just decide to just take like half a semester off, and just work. Definitely excited about that, just so I can kind of just get a move on.
Yeah, but that's imagine starting college immediately into January, fam. That gives me,
Yeah,
for me, I know I'm going into college pretty soon, but it's such a giant beast to go into looking at it, because everyone's like, you gotta apply to these colleges, and you gotta make sure your SAT scores are up. You have to make sure your GPA is at this 3.0, and it's like, oh, it's a lot to take in. I'm not like, I wouldn't say I'm like afraid of going. It's more of I'm extremely stressed, and I don't know, like, it's kind of like an unknown future, like in terms of that.
yeah. It's like I don't know, like in going into the junior year is the only time I really even cared about my GPA and SAT scores and all that. Like just being for real, like I just did the classes. If I passed, I passed. If I failed, I failed. I really didn't give a care. And then going into my junior year is the only year I actually realized like, oh crap, like I need to actually start getting serious about it. So
That's
definitely with GPA is not looking so tight right now, especially since COVID happened and I did horrible. And remember when e-learning had originally started in like 20 in the like the beginning of 2020?
yeah. When did it start for
Right.
you? Because weren't you You were in a different school than I was, and I think we got out of school in like early March.
Yeah, the March. I think it'd probably be like 1 year anniversary coming up
That sounds
next
terrible.
Friday. 1 year.
Happy COVID anniversary. We made it.
Yeah. Oh wow. Yeah. So yeah, I did horrible in um the first run of e-learning because they had nothing figured out and they just had to, just throw everything together. And so it was horrible and my grades just really flipped. I basically finished off the year with D's and F's just because I had no clue what I was doing.
Whew.
With e-learning, yeah, it was horrible. The all the before all that, my grades were cool, looking at A's, B's, and like a one or two C's. But after e-learning happened, everything just bombed, and I was just looking at D's, F's, and everything just went horrible. And
Yeah.
so
Was it like really stressful for you? Like going through that?
yeah, it was. It was really stressful just because I mean, it was a new school, so and plus, yeah, it was January, so I'd already been at that school for about 5 months, but I still wasn't comfortable with my teacher or my classmates or anything like that. And the way they was doing it was like they would just post assignments online, and we just had to do it. It was like I'm not that type of person that's gonna like immediately catch on to something.
Right.
So it's not like you can kind of like really show me a video and of you doing the assignment, and I'm just gonna be like, oh, okay, yeah, that's how you do it. For some people, it's like that, but for a lot of people, like we really need that one-on-one, hands-on type of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Which and you couldn't get that, in the first run of e-learning. They had nothing figured out, so you just couldn't get that. So it was
Yeah.
just really hard. So it put a lot of pressure on me, a lot of stress on me, and it got to the point where it was like, I'm just gonna do what I do. I'm just gonna do what I can do. And I ended the year. I mean, I couldn't. They basically said that no one could really fail the year,
Right.
so
They
I
did the
finished.
same thing for us too.
Right, so I finished the year with basically D's and F's, and it was just horrible. And then I come into my junior year and I'm looking at my GPA. I'm not gonna share that, but it was pretty low. Yeah, that's something I want to keep private. But my GPA, it was pretty low, and so I had just been, and then even just this school year starting off, I basically did not do that good either. I basically was at like B's, a few B's, and basically C's and D's. So it was just horrible. Going into my second quarter and third quarter, that's when things actually started picking up. I was looking at like B's and C's. Second quarter, now this quarter, I'm looking at straight A's. So everything is turning around, but I don't know. I feel
Congratulations on
like,
that, by the way. Like,
yeah,
what did you do to like
yeah.
start changing it around? Like, what changed for you?
Um, what changed? I would probably say I just kind of gave a care. Like I know that sounds real stupid, but that's basically what it was. I just actually started to give a care my entire life. Like my entire life, even um before high school and grammar school, when I was looking at high schools, like as long as I was passing, I was fine.
Mm.
You
Oh,
know,
okay.
yeah. And so then going into my junior year, my next semester, when I had a talk with my counselor, and he just was like, "Yeah, so your grade is this, this, and that. I think the best you can do is get it up to a blah blah blah, and you might be able to get into a 2 year college, and then if you do good in there, you can transfer into a 4 year college. Like that. Just that realization of like I plan on going to law school. It's like that realization of like, oh, like I messed up so bad, I might not even be able to actually go to college.
Oh
You
yeah.
know. So it just kind of, it just kind of shook me, like, oh wow, like wow, I just really messed up. And so I just actually just started giving a care. I just
Mm-hmm.
actually started just giving the care and just like doing the work. But it's still hard. Like I said, it's still hard. I'm not that perfect student that's just gonna grasp on to something really quickly. It's still hard, definitely, but me just deciding to say, hey, let me actually take this stuff serious, then it things actually helped, and so
Yeah, because it sounds like it was because of everything is, and especially I think I'd agree with that too, is that because of everything that's going on like outside the world, when you're just trying to focus on school, and now also because we're at home, you don't have to focus on any of the social stress or interactions either. I think
yeah.
that's also one of the good things of COVID. If you were being bullied or harassed at school, that's not a problem anymore. All you have to do is focus on school. But then you also have people who it's the opposite, where it was good at school and now they're going home and then they don't have a good environment at home for them to focus on that. I think it's one of like the big thing that's really impacted students, especially between last year and this year. And going into this year, I think people are really getting tired of having to sit through going on Zoom. I get PTSD. I wake up in the middle of the night hearing the Zoom noise.
Oh wow, that is
Ding-dong!
funny.
Ah!
Oh, that is funny. It's crazy because like the entire year, like I would say the one thing that kind of just helped me is just getting ready in the morning. Like
mm,
a lot of times, like no matter how like sleepy you are in the morning, the waking up, getting in a hot shower, and just imitating everything you would do on a normal day of school, like if you actually going to school, just imitating that,
right.
getting your backpack ready. And that's exactly what I would do. It seems weird, but I would literally, wake up, eat a bowl of cereal, get in the shower, you know, get fully dressed, put on some sweatpants or whatever, get fully dressed and go downstairs to the table, and just that, just mindset of, oh, I'm actually about to go to school. I'm actually about to, get out the house and go to school. It just got me woken up.
Right.
But because I feel like if you just just wake up and you just laying in bed, and you on your TV and you on your computer, you have a more chance of just falling asleep or getting distracted by TV or whatever. So that's something that it's kind of hard to do for a lot of people just because it's irritating. But the more and more you do it, the easier it becomes.
Yeah, I do think definitely having a routine for yourself in the morning now it helps with just having a routine and then getting up, setting all your stuff out, and then just making it seem like a normal day definitely relieves some of the stress. Because I know, especially recently, I've kind of fallen off of my routine. It's been so long in the quarantine, and I have all these AP classes, and I'm just tired of writing essays and sitting at the computer. So now my schedule has
Yeah.
just been getting up. I have to. I think school starts for me at 8:45, so I'll wake up at 8:43. Uh, shower, get all of my stuff together, and then be to class exactly at 8:45. That's not true. I get in class at like 8:50, and it's terrible. Like 8:50, it's like minutes after, and it's like, okay, Shane, where were you? And then everyone's like, oh, I had problems with my computer. And it's like, no, no, you're not getting your stuff together. But I definitely applaud
Yeah.
that. I think at the beginning of quarantine for me, me and my mom would get up in the morning early. We'd exercise and work out, and then we'd like start cooking our own meals. Like it was really good, like the first half, like going into the beginning of it, because it didn't feel like it was gonna be a year.
Right.
It was that feeling of, oh, we can get through this. We're all working together, and then now I'm still exercising and like getting up, but definitely my routine is like falling apart. And it's about trying to find that motivation again and dealing with like the stress of just looking at Zoom meetings all day.
Yeah. But then again, I feel like though COVID has messed up a lot of things in my life, I would say I wouldn't just say it was COVID. I don't think I would say it was COVID though, but it's kind of brung a little bit of joy back in my life just because before COVID, like I had swam, before high school, and
Mm-hmm.
then once I started high school, I stopped swimming. And freshman year, I decided not to, just because I wanted to give myself a break, and I was like, I kind of need to figure out who I am without swimming, and just kind of that type of thing. And then sophomore year, I transferred, and I had been gaining so much weight and wasn't feeling healthy and nothing like that. I'd already been out of the pool for a year, and so it was like, oh, I don't feel comfortable. I'm not comfortable, in my body, so I don't want to take my shirt off. It was that type of mentality that I was
Yeah.
in my sophomore year, where it was like, no, I still don't want to get back in the pool. And junior year, it was like I had nothing else to do, you know? Like, no, like literally, I had nothing else to do. Wake up, get to class, go back to sleep. That's it. So once I heard about swimming, I was like, I guess this might as well be I guess this might as well be the best time to go ahead and give it a try. And so I tried it. And so I got back into it, and I had, a horrible first practice, but I guess that was kind of the my body kind of getting back into touch with the water.
Yeah.
Second practice was a lot better, and then they shut it down because of COVID. And so we were shut down for about 2 months. Like it started in like the end of November, and they shut it down for like 2 months, and we got back into it in the beginning or the end of January.
Right.
So yeah, that was fun. Just through I would say kind of COVID without having so many things to do in your life. COVID just kind of um I guess you say opened my mind a little bit.
It's a blessing in disguise. I think
Yeah,
a lot of people you can really benefit from having the open time. I know for some people their environment or the situation that they're in affects it can affect that, and some people don't have that same opportunity to really get the best benefit of the time, or they've had tragedies happen in their life over the course of it. But it it benefits people. I think
yeah,
it's been a good time for people to grow and work on themselves, and good time to take advantage of that.
yeah. It is.
However, however, definitely I've noticed like over the course I've gotten into I definitely like towards the middle of you're getting really annoyed with like people in your family and being around the same people 24/7.
Oh yeah. I mean, that was the thing. Like I was getting annoyed. So what I decided to do was find a way to get out the house. So I mean, I got a job. I mean, I joined the swim team. It was just those types of things, just to get out the house.
Yeah.
So I'm not always. I mean, my mom, she's just always in the house. My dad is usually gone because he's at work.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just it's me and three other girls in my house. My mom and my two sisters. So I'm like the only dude in the house. So it's like it's irritating. So yeah, that just kind of was like, I need to get out the house because I can't just keep doing this.
What were the issues, man? What pet peeves that going into that?
Pet peeves.
Like dealing with like people at home or just in general,
Oh my God, my mom. So my mom, I love her dearly, but she will go to since she like is at home 24/7 now.
mm-hmm.
She will go downstairs and watch TV, right? And downstairs is where my you've been over my house, so you know what I'm talking about. But that's
Yeah.
where my little setup for my classes and all that, where I get online at.
Mm-hmm.
And she wakes up way after me. Mind you, my day is really short for school because I actually got at 12:35 instead of 3 or 2:45 or anything like that.
Wait, what? How come? Sorry, we'll cut back to the story, but how come? What? I want to be on that
so,
schedule.
so what they did for the new semester, instead of being in class all day, you actually separate your three classes. So like for
What?
tomorrow. So what?
I'm like, what? Come on.
Yeah,
We
so
need
like
that.
Tuesday is the first because Monday we have a full day. We start at 9:15. I get out at 2:45. But Tuesday I start at 9:30 and I get out at 12:35. But the way they do it is you take your first three classes, and each class is an hour and 10 minutes or an hour and 5 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and then after that is asynchronous time where it's basically tutoring. If you need help, you log on and you get that help. So it's not like you have six different classes that you have to worry about in one day or seven different classes that you have to worry about in one day. Now you only have to worry about half of them in one day. So it's better. The reason they did that was because they just a lot of people were just saying that it's a lot of stress of being online and having to deal with seven different classes or six different classes in one day. So they just decided to cut it down. I don't have a first period, so now I only have six. Some people do have a first period, so they'll have like four classes in one day and then three classes the next day. But me, I only have three classes a day.
That sounds beautiful. Our school needs to do that. So I don't get out till 4:40 because I'm enrolled in this extra like art curriculum. So the class is like from 3 to 4:40. So not only am I in like the main 3-4 block schedule in the morning from 8:45 to 2, I also have that the extra hour and 40 minutes of class, and I'm not done till 4:40. And then because I'm
Ooh,
in all
wow.
these AP classes, I got to take essays and take notes and then be able to write and edit. And it's like, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, I'm gonna lose it.
Oof, yeah,
But
that is irritating.
in your basement, right? You have your class there.
No, not in my basement. In like the upstairs, just downstairs,
Right.
not in the basement, but on the first level. Um. Anyway, my mom she would come downstairs, right, and she'll start watching TV. I start doing my homework late at night, so around like 8 o'clock. Most of my homework is due at like 11:59. So I give myself about 4 5 hours or so to do my homework.
Mm-hmm.
And that's when she decides to like start watching TV. So I'm just downstairs. I'm trying to do my homework, and she just has the TV blasting. I'm like she'll have the TV on like 100. I'm like, I can hear the TV outside. Turn it down some. And I'm like, Mom, I'm trying to do my homework. You have a TV upstairs. You know that, right? Can you go upstairs and do your homework? I mean, can you go upstairs and watch TV? She's like, oh my God, you act like you can't do two things at once. Well, I mean, I can't. That's why I'm asking you to go upstairs so I can focus, I can concentrate. Oh my God, I can't stand you. I'm like, okay, okay, Mom. And so I had to wait until like I used so like honestly, I sometimes have to go down to the basement and do my homework, or I just have to wait until she just decides to go upstairs, which is usually around 10 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
And I only have like an hour to like do my homework, but that's definitely about the biggest pet peeve of mine.
What you could what would help with that if you get like some headphones or put on
Oh yeah, I have headphones.
those like binaural beats or something. I forgot what it is. It's like those sounds it gives like that spa music, and it drowns everything out. Like I kind of have a noisy environment sometimes too, and I've been doing that, and that's really been helping.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check that out.
Have you
Hey, by the
also?
way,
Or
I'm sorry. What was you saying?
have you tried out those like those cafe videos on YouTube that have like the
No.
cafe ambiance? I've been getting really into those because I miss going to coffee shops to study. So like they have like this display in the background of like this digital coffee shop, and it plays like clanking of like dishes and everything and like coffee makers, and it feels like you're in a coffee restaurant. I've been so void of
Yeah.
human interaction that I've been listening to that with like jazz music, and
Yeah, I've
honestly,
never done that.
it's really helped. Like it helps like focus. It's I don't know. It gives like that sense of like relaxation again for me.
I'm about to try that coffee shop. What
Um,
is it called?
I'll put a link in the description for anyone who's listening too. One of the channels I watch is Calmed by Nature,
Okay.
and then another one I think is Calm Cafe. And
Okay, cool.
those have been the ones I've been listening to. I think they're really good with that.
Yeah, I'll have to check that one out. I'll definitely have to check that one out. No, I was about to say another thing, another pet peeve of mine, which is weird, is the word pet peeve. So I was watching another podcast, and he was saying that a pet peeve of his is the word pet peeve, and it never made sense to me, but then it made sense. It was like, why is it called pet peeve? Because like if you it sounds stupid, but when you first hear of the word pet peeve, you think it's got something to do with a pet. But then when you find out it's got nothing to do with a pet, it really makes me agitated and irritated.
So what should we call it then? We gotta come up with another
Something other
name.
than pet peeve. I mean, you can call it a human peeve,
Human peeves? Is that what we're gonna call it?
but a pet peeve. I mean, it's got the definition literally has nothing to do with a pet. It has nothing to even do with an animal. Period. That's why they call it pet peeve. I'm sorry. Hmm.
Angry peeves, mean peeves,
Something like that. Yeah.
mean
That'll do it. That'll do it.
mean
Yep.
peeves. We'll call it mean peeves.
Something.
Mean peeves. So what's your next mean peeve, Phil?
I think that was it. I think that was it. Yeah.
um, I feel like this is something I've said before. I don't know if I've said it in person. But I cannot stand that like smacking noise when people eat with their mouth open. It
Yes.
is it is the most. I hate it. I cringe. I want to leave the room. It's That's why I can't listen to ASMR videos because it's that crunching and it's like that mac like it's that like wet noise and I hate it so much.
Yeah. That's kind of like I wouldn't necessarily say it's a pet peeve, but it definitely irritates me. Is that like that sound of like your shoes like
Oh
your shoe just going to go to like a wet like floor or something like that. You know what I'm talking about?
yeah, it's like at
That sound.
school. Remember in kindergarten,
Yeah.
kids would get like the wet boots in the wintertime. They just like rub it across like the floors.
Yeah, that definitely irritates me.
That one never really bothered me that much. I don't know. For me, it's the smacking, fam. It really is, and it hurts because not it hurts, but it's a shame because like my mom does it, and I don't know if it's something that's always been there, or if I've just more and more I've gotten annoyed with it because we've been in lockdown. But I'm pretty sure it's like gotten like more prominent. But it's just like the smacking thing. The two foods that I can't be like in the same room with like. I'm sorry, mom. The two foods. It's oatmeal. Oatmeal I can't do, and cereal. Cause like you'll hear like the
Really?
scrape. Yes. Cause I kid you not, it's like a whole process. You'll see like the spoon go around the boat. The not the boat. The
The
spoon go
bowl.
around. the, the spoon go around the boat. No, you'll see the spoon go around the bowl, and it makes that like scraping like glass noise in ceramic, and then
Oh yeah.
it makes that noise, and then the oatmeal is like, I'm like, stop it, stop it.
Well,
I
for
can't do
me,
it.
I eat cereal every day, so
Feel
that's not really a pet peeve because cereal is one of my favorite foods.
feel it sounds like we're not having breakfast together for a little bit.
I guess not.
It's oatmeal and cereal, fam.
Oh
It has that scraping like smacking noise,
man.
and I
Thinking of oatmeal, have you ever heard of cream of wheat?
cream of yeah, I think so. What?
Anyway, it's this old school cereal. My mom and my dad and my grandmama, they used to all they be telling me about this, and I don't know why, but for parents, they always make it seem like them growing up, it was so rough and so hard. And they was like, yeah, see, back in my day, we ain't had cereal. We had to heat it up on the stove, and I'm like, okay, mom. But they always over exaggerate it. But anyway, it's basically cereal back how cereal was back in the day, and it's basically oatmeal, but cereal. I don't know if that makes sense.
I just looked up. Oh yeah, this. Oh yeah, this is old school.
Yeah. So and they every time and we have about 3 boxes in my cabinet right now, and every day my mom she'll go in and fix her a bowl, and she'll always tell me the story. She'd be like, "See, back in my day, we ain't have no little cereal where you could just go ahead and take it out the box and put it in the y'all privileged, y'all lucky." I'm like, you actually act like that's something to complain about, cause like,
the fu-
really, mom?
the funniest thing about when people do that, it's they're acting like they're going out and farming for the wheat, and they have to make it.
Right,
Then you have to grind it up and make it. It's like no, it's just different. It's a different brand.
right. See, that's what I should do. I should just find like a farmer who actually has to do that and be like, huh? Complain now, mom. Complain now. You see, you have to heat the stuff up. You see, they have to get up, pick the wheat, and then they gotta clean it, and then they gotta put it through this whole process, and then they get cooking and eat it. So complain now.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah,
Back in,
never complain again.
just every time you're in the kitchen and you just see her reaching for the oatmeal, you're like, ah, god damn. just, just back in my day, we didn't have like, mom, this is the 10th, like 15th time you've gotten oatmeal this week, please.
I'm like, okay, ma. It gets to the point where I'd be like, okay, ma. Let's see. Back in my day, we ain't have all that. I'm like, yep, okay, all right, yep, mhm. Do you?
Oh my gosh. Um, does that really like anger you though? Like whenever people do that?
I wouldn't say it angers me, but my family definitely brings it up. Like they're always like, I don't know, but that's just something that I guess we can kind of talk about. But this generation, like the older generations, always make fun of Gen Z, I guess you say.
Oh my
And so
gosh.
yeah, I don't know that I wouldn't say it irritates me, but this is a conversation that I always have with my moms, just about like the difference between older generations like her generation and my generation. So I wouldn't say it irritates me, but a lot of things that she says about our generation irritates me. But yeah, so like in
Like
that
like
way,
what's an
it
example?
does.
Cuz like when I think of that, I often think of like older people who hate on us. Like you all don't have any talent. Your movies aren't good. The music sucks. You're not doing
It's
any.
not that, but she more so says that our generation is soft, you
Well,
know.
that's a common one. Yeah.
So she basically talks about like how all the struggles that she had to go through as a child, and as we don't have to go. And so in some ways, it's understandable. You know, it's no secret that our generation is definitely privileged in ways just because um we have basically computers, mini computers in our pockets.
Right.
So yeah, in that way, definitely I will definitely say that, we are definitely privileged in those ways, but
I agree with that. However, we are privileged, yes, but
right.
it gets annoying or when they give the assumption that we have everything and we're not taking any but that we have everything and we're not taking advantage of that. Like that's
Or
every.
not just that, but just like that we don't struggle or we don't have anything like to complain about.
Every generation has its own struggle. Like
Right.
it's like every generation is gonna be privileged in compared to the one before it. Like our generation feels gonna have to deal with climate change,
Yeah,
more political issues again.
yeah,
It's a whole, it's just different in the way of what we have to struggle for. Yes, it is easier to have access to information. If I brought an iPhone back to the 80s, it would revolutionize everything. People like, "What?"
right.
I could figure out where to go. I can figure out where to eat. I can use a calculator and solve problems. I can figure out anything just with that one device. That would be insane to bring to the 80s. And yes, it's different. But I think the struggles that each generation faces change. And when other
Yeah, I feel like
generations see that, it's different.
yeah, I feel like even though like to them like to the older generations are the struggles that we have to go through. It's not it ain't nothing to them because they say to them they've had to go through worse things or so. And I'm not gonna sit up here and say that my grandmother's generation is was easy, or I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is that like our generation definitely has to endure things, and the more and more that we grow, the more and more that the country grows, um, the more and more things just get harder for, I guess you say, our generation.
What do you mean by that? Like, what specific thing?
I
Are you
feel
talking
like
about
just
politics?
because
Or just
I,
like.
not even just politics, but I feel like just because the bad rep that our generation kind of gets,
Oh,
it's
yeah.
like I know my mom. She would always talk about like how gangs and stuff back in the day were gangs to build up the community, and so now gangs now it's not that you know and that that's clear. And so it's just the bad rep that we get, and it's also just the fact that like you ever realize how like you never really see young politicians.
Mm, yeah. Oh, you mean
Right,
like
like
politicians now are all old? Yeah.
yeah, like a lot of politicians today, a lot of our Congress members and representatives, they're all older, even if at least they're not in our generation. Now, our generation right now goes up to like 22 years old, I believe. Right now,
Gen
the
Z?
one thing yeah, Gen Z,
Really? Oh, okay. I didn't know that.
believe so, yeah. So the one thing I'm saying is that I feel like our generation we just get a bad rep, so it's kind of harder for um us to really say anything, us to really uh get our voices heard, I guess you can say.
And another thing too, what annoys me with that is like our generation is making all these problems. We're living in the problems. The problems are
Right.
already there, and they oftentimes talk about the past like it was so great. Like no, yeah, gangs were building up the community, but you all were beating gay bashers and beating up LGBT and having other
Yeah.
social issues. I'm using that as an example, but like things weren't perfect either.
Yeah, is yeah, definitely.
Come on.
In response to like what you were just saying, it's like things have become worse and things have become better. Women are finally included in the Constitution, after hundreds of years, you know. So in that way, things, yeah, definitely have become better. But then, also in respect to the LGBTQ plus community, you know, back then, the LGBTQ plus community were seen as just horrible people, horrible human beings, as confused people. And so and I see this a lot, but a lot of the older generations, they don't understand it, and it's something that the newer generation does understand. You know what I'm saying?
And it's not even that. It's not. If you don't understand people's personal choices, it's not your job to understand their choices. People are going to do whatever they want. What does it matter what other people's life choices are? It shouldn't affect you at all. It's so many issues that goes that with with us having this podcast and people definitely, I think definitely now because of social media that people are showing a lot more of their beliefs and opinions out there. It's increasingly harder for people to express ideas and their opinions without being criticized or judged for them.
Yeah,
And it's not. I think especially like me and you are both six. You're 17, right?
yeah,
Yeah. Me, I'm 16. You're 17. We're both young. I'm pretty sure even like 5, 10 years from now, we're not gonna have some of the same views. They're gonna change and adapt. And some of the opinions I have now may or may not be ignorant to some people. But I think it's good to have an open dialogue about these things in order for us to grow and have other people's ideas influence us. Because how else are you going to be able to grow and develop as a people and have your ideas change if you can't have a dialogue with people? Like,
definitely.
this whole idea of like what people can and can't say and people being able to voice their opinions online or not, it's not, it doesn't help anything. It's like we shouldn't be having these discussions. Like, no, yes, we should. We 110% should. If we're not talking about it, it just gets buried and then the issues are still there. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think it's good. I'm
Mm.
definitely looking forward to at some point, however long. This is just an example of doing our podcast goes, just to see how much we grow and develop and seeing our own personal ideas and views change and shift because they're going to. And I
Yeah.
don't know. I don't think people should be held accountable for ideas that are held like 10 years ago because me 10 years ago is not the same person I am now.
Yeah.
um,
10 years ago, I was 7 years old. I had no clue what politics was.
exactly. Now, obviously, that's an extreme example because we're only teenagers. But in the grand scheme of things, if you're 30, the ideas you had when you were 20 are completely different. That's 10
Yeah, look,
years of life to live.
let me can I use Joe Biden as an example?
Oh,
It's weird, but
Grandpa Joe.
it's weird, but Trump and do all through the election, he was always trying to use his what he believed in the past as a way to attack him, you know. And it's like that was like over 30, 40 years ago. It's like, dude, come up with another, come up with something else now.
Yeah, but the thing is, if you're, I think it also reaches a certain age where your views aren't going to happen unless you have something life changing happen to you. People who are
True.
80 and like, that's it. Like their ideas are solidified. They don't care. They're older. They're not gonna. What real change are they gonna get? They have a few years left. They're gonna. It. I know it's dark, but it's that's why I don't care if people are bigots or racist like past 60. I don't care. Why?
That's true.
They only have a few years left.
I wouldn't even say just the fact that they only have a few years left. I would say just the fact that they've lived through like
Right. Complete.
just
It's a completely different era when they lived through.
they literally had to experience um a whole bunch of things. So they grew up being racist. So I
You know.
guess
It's wrong, but they're old.
right.
Different.
What can you do about it?
Different era. Ah, gosh. Um, last thing. Topic I want to segue into. What is your relation with anger in your life? You have a lot of like anger. Um,
Uh, yeah, I can actually share a few stories about this. Um, when I was younger, I'm not gonna go too in depth with this because this is something very personal. But I'm gonna try to share the bare minimum.
mm-hmm.
But when I was younger, some things happened within my family, and it caused me to have a lot of anger. Um, and I did a lot of things that I regret. Um, the one thing that I would say is People talk about anger. Anger, impacted my life in a big way. You know, anger, it impacted my life in a big way. Anger could have killed me. Anger could have done a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
So is it's just something that not really something to joke about because I was actually talking to my dad a few months ago, and I was driving in the car, and he was like, and we both have struggled with anger, and he was telling me the greatest thing that's ever happened to him was him being able to um witness me grow out of that, because the path I was headed on was a path towards nothing but destruction, you know,
Mm-hmm.
and it took. And I mean, I know a lot of times, we say like, you ever, I don't know, but a lot of times I'll bring this up and I say, I feel alone, even though I'm not alone. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I know what you mean, but if you want to go on more in depth, I don't want to push you in anything you don't feel
Yeah,
comfortable
yeah,
with
yeah.
talking about.
So what I mean by that is like basically feeling alone, but even though you're not alone, you may have family, you may have friends, and I've shared this many times. I have, some of the best friends. My family is very supportive. My family is very, is always there for me. But even then, even though I have all these people I can reach out to, I still feel alone. I still feel that insecure. I still feel that I have no one to talk to. And so it's a normal thing, you know,
Mm.
literally or figuratively, if you are alone or not. If you are literally alone, where you literally have no one to talk to, but and even then, the one thing I would say about that, and the one thing I've learned is you're never alone. You're literally never alone unless you literally know no one. Which I'm pretty sure that I highly doubt that. Unless you literally know no one, you're never alone. I reached, at one point in my life, I was in a very, very dark place, and I felt like I really had no one to talk to. But I was able to reach out to a friend that I haven't talked to in like 7 years, and she was the one that helped me get past that point in my life.
Oh
You know,
yeah. Well,
even just reaching out to, especially now, you have all these influencers and stuff like that. Even just being able to, just DM them, just expressing your feelings, something like that. Always know you have someone to talk to. You know, you're never alone. And even if the another thing that I say is music, TV, all of it, sports. It's a way. It's kind of your kind of personal therapist in a way. When I'm feeling angry, when I'm feeling upset, I mean, I go to the gym, I go listen to music, I go watch TV, I go to sleep. That all of those things are ways, are basically our personal therapist. You
yeah.
having someone to talk to is not necessarily have to be a literal person, but it can literally be honestly just yourself. To a lot of people, this may sound weird and crazy, but just talking to yourself. If you just in your room one day crying and you just say all those things out loud that you feeling and just yell it out at the top of your lungs, that'll make you. It makes me feel better at least. Just so I'm at least able to get it off my chest, even though I'm not saying it to nobody.
Yeah. So
Find ways. I'm sorry, man. Let me make this one more point real quick.
go for it.
I'm sorry because I don't know. You brought up anger. It brought back some bad memories, and since I have been able to move out of that dark phase in my life, and I still have that darkness in me, it's something that unfortunately will never go away. But you find ways to deal with it, and no matter what it is, as long as it's something healthy, you know,
So would you
reading a
say
book.
for yourself, like you kind of poured that energy into your hobbies?
Yes, definitely. Well, like I was saying, I'm not sure how I said this, but I have so much crazy stuff going on in my life. I have a radio show. I'm doing the podcast. I'm swimming and water polo, debate. I'm working. I have so much crazy stuff going on in my life. And when I'm feeling upset, and honestly, in 2020, and with everything that's going on, I feel upset a lot, and I've yet to explode because I have so many hobbies. But keeping yourself busy definitely helps.
Yeah. Definitely. Um, for me, I've had a really uh, bad issues with anger. Um, I, I won't go too deep into it. Maybe we can save some other stories for another time. But I think a lot of my anger came from really the treatment I got during not middle school. It was like grade school going into middle school.
Mm-hmm.
Which I know for most people it's like, oh yeah, middle school sucks. It's like a universal thing, but nah, it truly does. And I think me and you both can attest to like that feeling of like truly feeling alone because the interests and hobbies that me and you both like swimming and theater, nobody else really related
Mm-hmm.
to.
You feel like you don't fit in.
Yeah, like for me, I was like
Yeah.
physically bullied in like second and third grade to the point where like I was quiet and then I was very standoffish and people wouldn't. I'd be very defensive. People wouldn't be able to say like when people joke around. I was very shrewd. I couldn't take like a joke and be like, well, what is that supposed to mean? And a lot of issues with that. I would like have what's it? Is it like anger outburst? What would you call it? Like an emotional? I wouldn't say
Yeah, I guess you can go with that.
I wouldn't say it a mental breakdown because that's like I think that's different of what I'm. When you keep on, it's like the boiling tea kettle. The
Yeah, I
more and
know
more stuff
exactly
that,
what you're talking about. I got a lot of stories like those.
the more and
I
more it piles on, like the until it explodes, and then you have a really bad incident. Um, I'll share this one example because I've moved past it, but it is something that's I don't really talk about much. So Fiel, before I went to switch schools, and I think in seventh grade, I had a really bad issue with like people calling me like gay or you don't black people aren't supposed to swim.
yeah, yeah.
You a white boy, you're not supposed to do that. And it's like, I think it got to a point where I was just so fed up with it. And then one day, I think that what class was it in? It was in science. It was in science class, and FYI, my science teacher was racist. So, so she's like, I don't understand what's going on. She had the like that strong, thick like Chicago accent. I don't understand what's
Mm.
going on. You all aren't paying attention. Like I remember the story. She had told my mom came up to the school during parent teacher conference, and when my mom was talking to her, she assumed that my mom and my dad were divorced because we were black. So so
Wow, that is super
so
racist.
she was like, oh, so is he gonna be living with his dad? And he was like, wait, he doesn't. He lives with both parents. Like, oh, okay, I assumed. It's like, what? Come on, dude. What? You didn't ask that question with Timmy over here when Timmy and his mom when Timmy and his
Wow.
mom walked up. But it's like, dude, come on. But anyway, as I'm getting off sidetracked, I'm in class and these two girls were making fun of me, and they like would always do it in this class. They'd like call me gay, and I remember one of the girls specifically would like during class would keep on saying that I was like attracted to her boyfriend, which was so dumb. It's like you trying to get with my boyfriend? Insert name here, and I'm like, Jesus Christ, no, I'm not. Stop talking to me during class. And then finally, the boiled tea kettle effect happened. I'm in seventh grade. We're taking notes. I grab that science hardcover book. I pick it up, and I hit her in the head with it. I think 5 times. And then all the teacher runs over. It's like, what is going on? And I get pulled away, and literally, Everybody in the class was like shocked. It was dead silent. I had never in my entire life like had a moment where I was like so angry. I was like, and I screamed to the top of my lungs, like, she's calling me gay and I'm not.
Mm,
She's harassing me. And then she's like, go to the office. And then from that point on, it really sucked because it was really my anger shouldn't have got to that point. And I've also had other things in my personal life too, outside of school, that allowed for anger to get to that point. But with that, around the school, I was seen as like kind of a womanizer, which is
mm,
heartbreaking. Like it destroys, because no good like hearted man or male would ever want to be like associated with that. It's
right.
the worst. It's bottom tier. That is terrible. So for the longest, I didn't talk to anybody. I was like alienated around the school. I didn't talk to anybody, and it was hell for months. And I think in that moment, I really wished I would have had uh, somebody, or at least some other outlet to express that to, or to like find something to write down. Which I really encourage people who are who do have issues with anger to find another outlet for that.
Mm,
I think you gave some really good examples with like pouring it into hobbies, um, and then just genuinely writing it down and having like positive, really looking at the positive moments in your life and being grateful for that. Because I definitely did not have that, and I had very low self esteem. Very dark place to
yeah.
go into, but
Um, last thing. It's just like you were saying. The one thing I do want to point out with the hobbies and all that is don't hold it inside. The reason we say hobbies and all that is that it's a way to kind of get your mind off of it, but then at the same time don't hold it inside. Don't hold it inside because eventually it will burst, and when it bursts, it's a lot worse than what it is when when it just happens.
mm-hmm.
You know, so don't hold it inside. Find a way to get it out. If that's talking to someone, do that. I know a lot of times within the black community, talking to a therapist and stuff like that is seen as weak. And me personally, I personally also don't feel comfortable talking to a therapist. But if that helps you, then you do that. But if that's not it, then that's fine. You talking to your friends or family about it, you do that. And if you don't want to talk to nobody, if you just want to write about it, you do that. Sometimes you just want to cry about it. And a lot of times also within the black community, crying is also seen as a form of weakness. But if you want to just go to your room and just cry about it, then you do that. Like, you find your own way that's healthy to
Mm-hmm.
deal with your problems. And as long as that's the way that works for you, no one has to understand it. No one understands a lot of the things that I do to deal with my anger. Me going to the gym and basically killing myself at the gym make me feel so good. I swear, like I swear, me basically killing myself at the gym and swimming until my legs and arms fall off. It makes me feel so good. And to the point where when I get home, it's all over. Like, I'm not really worried about anything anymore. I just feel really good. My body feels good, my mind feels good, and so as long as it works for you, as long as it's healthy and it works for you, then do it. Forget everybody else. They don't have to understand it, but as long as it works for you, then that's totally fine.
Yes, 110%. Um, I want to thank you for today's podcast episode. I think I think we had some really good stuff in there. I want to thank everybody for listening. If you are dealing with this stuff, take some of this stuff to heart. If there's some stuff that you want to listen to, or music that you have interest in, listen to that. There'll be some links into the description to some of the topics we've talked about. Um, you can follow all of our socials, and everything are in the description. Fiel, if you have anything else.
No, that'd be it. The last thing is thank you for listening, and once again, just make sure you find a way to get all your anger out. That's it.
All right. Thank you all for listening, and we'll see you all in the next one.